today, but it's not going to be a long show. I hope everybody had a happy Independence Day, happy 4th of July. Obviously, today's July 5th. Hope everybody's doing well, had a good time yesterday, not too hungover today. Wish everyone the best. Happy July 4th. Happy 250 years to America. Anyway, I don't know if you've seen the most recent stuff that's going on, but Brandon Aiyuk looks like he's completely on the outs. We're not going to talk about him all day, but I am going to bring it up a little bit here. Last night he had some cryptic stuff he was posting, and then today he told Jayden Daniels told him, enjoy retirement. He took it down, but nonetheless, Jayden Daniels told Brandon Aiyuk, enjoy retirement. Brandon Aiyuk obviously isn't going through the steps. What's up, Cubs? Brandon Aiyuk isn't going through the steps, isn't doing everything he needs to be reinstated. I don't know if he has a new agent. I don't know what's going on with him, really. I mean, I don't know if anybody who does actually know what's going on with him. But Jayden Daniels was his only ally, and now Jayden just said, hey, enjoy retirement. So if they don't basically hold hands and make up like Cubs thinks, they're just not gonna hire him. I mean, I don't see how Adam Peters is gonna bring him on if Jayden Daniels doesn't want him. Jayden Daniels is a franchise quarterback. Brandon Aiyuk is a receiver. They have other receivers. They don't need one. Obviously, if Jayden Daniels loved him, he wanted him there, that's a different story. But if they're feuding, that's a wrap. I don't know if it's all legit, but we're not going to talk about it a whole hell of a lot today. Just give it a few minutes to see, what people actually think, and does anybody ever anticipate seeing BA in an NFL jersey ever again? Probably not a 49ers jersey, and maybe not a Washington Commanders jersey. But let's get back to more 49ers business. As far as this year, there's a lot of people that still think that the Niners are a great team. And I mean, I've been a Niner fan my whole entire life. I was dressed in red and gold before I knew what a ball was. I think most of you guys know that if you've watched any of my videos, but this is, I don't know, it's kind of getting stale. It's getting old with Kyle Shanahan and the constantly running it back, the quest for 6, but it's turned into a quest for 6 points. We can't score a touchdown against Seattle. Does anybody truly believe that we are a Super Bowl team this year? Are we a Super Bowl winning team, caliber winning team this year? I don't think so. I already made my prediction about what our record was going to be weeks ago. I said we're going to be 7-11 or 7-10. But again, I said 6-10 a couple years ago when we were 6-10. Last year, I thought we would do better. We did do better. This year, I think we're going to go right back down towards the bottom. Maybe not as bad, but I don't think we're going to do as good this year. Now, I would love for us to do better. I mean, I'm a true Niner fan. I would love for us to win a Super Bowl. Does anybody out there actually think it's going to happen? I honestly don't think so. And what really gets me is in 2025, last year, they said, oh, we don't want to make any more moves because they're going to go all in 2026. Well, has anybody seen us go all in this year? What moves have we made? Is Osa an all-in move? All these guys that we have injured, nobody coming back. Is anybody gonna see a different change in roster, or are we gonna constantly keep playing our old veterans and not playing rookies? I think that's one of our biggest, that's one of Kyle's biggest downfalls. Our head coach is he doesn't play rookies. We don't develop talent, and constantly wanting to run it back with veterans. So the question of today's show is, are the 49ers a Super Bowl roster? Surfer Joe, please don't be rude in this, but I'm glad you're here. Cubs is #1 fan, but anyway, let's get back to the show. So Super Bowl roster, have we ever been a Super Bowl roster? We've made it there twice, 2019, 2023. 2019 was a pretty good team. What happened? Kyle Shanahan stopped running the ball in the second half. I believe we would have won that Super Bowl. I think everybody knows we would have won that Super Bowl if Deebo Samuel continued to carry the ball. But only one person makes that decision. That's Kyle Shanahan. Brandon Ayuk obviously comes along, helps us get to the Super Bowl in 23, which he wasn't the only one. We had a lot of people. We had CMC. We had everybody. I mean, 23 was probably the best team that the Niners have put together in 30 years. It was the best team in football that year, even though we lost, but I believe we lost because of Kyle Shanahan, but that's my belief. What is the difference this year? What do we do different? Is Purdy good enough to win a Super Bowl? He didn't win a Super Bowl in 23, and he was only making $900,000 on his rookie contract. Now I know right now isn't the $53 million part of his new contract, but I believe this next year he's getting paid like $45 million. So does that equivocate to a Super Bowl contender? I mean, if he couldn't win at 7 or 900,000, how do we win at 50 million, 45 million? I mean, I don't mind paying a quarterback, but they have to be worth it. Was Sam Darnold worth 30 million to the Seahawks? I would pay 30 million to get a Super Bowl ring. I mean, I think the Niners could easily afford that if they knew we'd get a ring, but obviously they just keep giving up talent for search of veterans, for guys that are sitting on the couch. If we get there, I know this is a huge if, but if we get there, does Kyle jump in the way again? Does Kyle stop running the ball? Does Kyle lose faith in everybody? Why did we fail in the past? Everybody ask a question. Give me some answers in the comments. Why did we fail our Super Bowls in the past? It should be a general consensus. Should be not because of the team so much, but because of decisions. And decisions are usually made by the head coach. If we get there, everybody's older. We have this decrepit team, I feel like, anymore. Trent Williams is 39 years old this year. I mean, he's a huge dude to be almost 40 and playing in the NFL and trying to move that fast with guys that are literally half his age. And I mean, slightly older, but have we ever built an offensive line under Shanahan? Does Shanahan believe in an offensive line? Do we get through any teams this year? I mean, everybody's seen the schedule probably to this point. Who are we going to beat? Panthers? I don't even know if we beat the Panthers. Falcons? Who are we going to beat this year? I mean, obviously we're going to win some games. We're not going to go, lose them all, but I don't really have a lot of faith, and we're supposed to be the faithful, right? So how do we remain faithful with all this adversity from our coach and our players and guys that are just continuously getting older, but we're running it back? Quest for 6. The running it back has been going on for 7 years now. We made it to 2019 Super Bowl, and they're going to run it back. And the next year, they're going to run it back. And the next year, they're going to run it back. When do we stop running it back and try to build a new team? The Rams and the Seahawks have completely rebuilt twice in the time that Kyle Shanahan has been here. They've both been to the Super Bowl, and they've both won. I'm willing to bet the Rams are going to go back to a Super Bowl this year. Maybe not a Super Bowl, but I'd be willing to bet $1,000 right now that the Rams make it to the playoffs. If Aaron Donald comes back, which it looks like it's trending that way, I don't know what to do. But if the Niners brought in Max Crosby and Nick Bosa was healthy, and if you go back into history, every year that Nick Bosa has gotten injured, he has come back and played better and lasted the whole season the next following year. So if that's the case, Nick Bosa starts week 1, we have him on one side and we put Max Crosby on the other. That's one of the best tandems in football. That's something that can compare to Myles Garrett and Aaron Donald and anybody else out there. NFC West, NFC North, AFC, Chiefs, Broncos, bring them on. Please give me Max Crosby. Please take some of that salary cap that we have, 71 million right now, and pick up somebody. But my fear is they're gonna wait until halfway through the year to see if we're any good, like they did last year and the year before. But last year they didn't make any moves, which last year was the year because the whole NFL was up in the air, and they didn't make any moves. So I think one of the biggest things that gets me is every year we spend all these draft picks. We get all these rookies. We get these guys that Kyle and John reach for. Yes, I'm using the R word. Everybody on our team, almost. Not all of them. Obviously, Nick Bosa was a blatant pick at number 2. But all the other guys, they're reaches for the most part. I'm not saying all of them, but 90% of everybody that we deal with and pick up are reaches. I don't understand what Kyle and John see in them. I mean, if you go, we're almost always way off mark. The whole rest of the NFL has guys that they believe are going to go here, go there. All these guys that are truly talented, guys coming out of college that really have a future ahead of them. And the Niners look at it and say, oh, no, we don't want that guy. And it's not because of scheme fit. It's not because of anything else as far as talent. It's because that Kyle already has another guy in mind. One person scouted this guy. Hey, Kyle, check out these 2 video clips of something that he did. And Kyle's like, man, I love him. We got to have him. So they reach for these guys that nobody's ever heard of. Honestly, answer me this. When we got Brandon Ayuk in the first round 5 years ago, was it 6 years ago now? 6 years ago, 7 years ago now. Shoot, god dang, time flies. Anyway, when we got Brandon Ayuk, did anybody ever hear of him before the Super Bowl? Before that year, before we drafted him? Has anybody ever heard of Brandon Ayuk when he was in Arizona? When he was at Sierra College? Anybody ever hear of Brandon Ayuk when we drafted him? No, I'm not saying the guy's bad, but he was a reach. Nobody was going to take him at 25. Nobody. I believe, I'm not 100% on this one. I believe Justin Jefferson was still on the board at that point. I believe Justin Jefferson got picked up just a couple picks later. 28th, 30th, or something like that. Justin Jefferson's a beast. Just saying. Some of these guys that the Niners go after have literally no talent. No talent on the general consensus board. I don't want to say that they're just flops, but some of these guys that we've got are. How many players, and I should have a list of this is just a question for you guys. How many players have we drafted have never seen the field? And if you guys remind me, put it in the comments. How many guys did we draft that have never, ever, ever seen the field? How many guys do we have on our team right now that have seen the field a couple times and actually have potential, but Kyle won't play them? Is Cowing any good? Do we still have our running backs that we've picked up for the last 3 years? Not Keon Black, but the 3 years before that? Do we have any of those guys left? I don't think so. I mean, even if they're on the team, Kyle's not going to play them. So I don't really understand what we're doing when it comes to this team. I don't understand Kyle's logic. Everybody says that, like we go back to draft picks. John wanted Trey Lance and that wasn't Kyle's fault, but whoever says that, you're obviously not very intelligent and haven't actually paid attention to the NFL. because Mike Shanahan is the one that scouted Trey Lance in North Dakota State. Mike Shanahan is the one that told Kyle, man, you should get this guy. John had nothing to do with it. Mike Shanahan, Kyle Shanahan's dad, is the reason we got Trey Lance. It's not John's problem. Now, I'm not saying John is a good drafter. John seems to miss on just as many picks as Kyle, but I don't know who's actually in charge of that. Seems, right now, it's kind of irrelevant, but something's got to change in our draft room. These guys that we get are just flops. Thanks, Cubs. Jefferson was 22nd. B.A. was 25th. B.A. went 3 picks after Justin Jefferson. But is B.A. even close to the same player as Justin Jefferson? How many other guys were there on the board at that point? I know we could have had that cornerback out of Philly, but I don't think that was the same draft. I think that was a couple years later. But I know he was on the board when we took a pick, and that guy's amazing, that white cornerback. I can't remember his name right this second, but he's awesome. But, yeah, we took Kinlaw. Kinlaw, 3rd pick overall. And at the time, I was excited because I assume Kyle and John know what they're doing. But Javon Kinlaw, the only Cooper DeJean, that guy, he's the white cornerback. Javon Kinlaw was a huge dude that did nothing for us. Absolutely nothing. All he did was fight with Grant and make a big freaking spectacle and have John Lynch come and apologize for him and mediate between Javon and Grant Cohn. If you guys don't know who Grant is, maybe check him out. He's amazing in this, and he's always on the field. He's always on the sidelines. He's always in getting the actual real info, whether you guys like it or not. He's not biased. He just gives it how it is. Anyway, back to us. So if we do any good this year, is our defense elite? Is Raheem Morris going to be the change that our defensive needs? Was Robert Saleh not one of the best coaches we've ever had? And what did we do last year? I mean, our defense did okay, but last year we were pulling guys off the couch halfway through the year, and it was guys nobody's ever heard of, guys that literally hadn't played in months or years. We were pulling them off the couch, and some of them did good. I'm not gonna go bad-mouthing that. But the thing to me is, why do we go so cheap when we're trying to actually get players on our team? Why are we trying to pinch pennies and save nickels if we're trying to win a Super Bowl? Like, I honestly feel like Jed York and his parents, John York and Denise is Eddie DeBartolo's sister. I feel like they just use the Niners as an ATM machine. As long as they're relevant, they're still making money. But I was born into this team when Eddie DeBartolo was the owner, and I know we didn't have a salary cap back then, but that guy didn't skimp on spending money. He spent it all. He was doing whatever it took to win championships, and I guarantee, I promise you, if Eddie DeBartolo was still the owner of this team, we would have a lot more than 5 rings, and we would have more than just the 3 appearances that we've had since he's given up the team. I don't know when I was kind of growing up, we never lost one. So if Eddie was still the owner, can you say that we actually lose in, 2013, 2019, and 2023? And Cubs is right. There's no salary cap on coaches right now. You could pay them whatever you want. So we could bring in the best talent around the team that's not actually the 53-man roster, and we can pay them whatever the hell we want. But the Yorks are cheap. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me where they like to spend big on guys that for the Cabo clique. If you're white, they'll give you all the money. Like, I honestly think there's a lot of racism that goes on in Kyle Shanahan's playbook, and I don't understand it. Oh, he's best friends with Debo. Where's Debo now? I'm not a fan of Debo anymore, but there's just not anything actually benefiting us with our freaking roster right this second. I'm sure we have a team that's going to be put together, but why'd they cancel minicamp? Because they were afraid Brandon Ayuk was going to show up? We used to run two-a-days all summer long in the heat in Rockland, and now they don't even practice half the time. So I really don't understand what we're doing. What do you think our reason will be this year if we don't make it? Is Brock Purdy a franchise quarterback? Does anybody actually believe in Brock Purdy, or is he just a system quarterback? Does anybody believe he's a franchise quarterback? Does anybody believe he was worth that contract? I know a lot of people do. Right now on our team, is Brock Purdy worth $53 million? Or, I'm just putting this out there because he's on our team, would they rather have Mac Jones at $30 million and actually try to build a better freaking team around him? Or anybody else for that matter? I mean, I'm not saying, we need to go back to a Jimmy G or Nick Mullins or CJ Beathard, but there are guys out there with talent, and Mac Jones has a lot of talent, and he stays in the pocket. I know Brock is a good scrambler, but the whole part of this offseason, every time they talk to an offensive coach or a quarterback coach or Kyle or anything, it was, we're going to try to keep Brock Purdy in the pocket this year. He's all of his training this year is going to keep him in the pocket. Why? Because they want him to follow the system. As soon as he breaks out and scrambles, now it's no longer Kyle's victory, it's Brock's. Kyle doesn't like that. Kyle does not want his quarterback to be the spotlight. Kyle wants to be the spotlight. That's why he didn't draft Mahomes. That's why he didn't even look at Mahomes. Not that, Mahomes would have benefited us at the time, but I guarantee you, if Mahomes was our quarterback, we'd have a lot of happier fans. We'd have a ring. But really, would we? Would Kyle get in front of Mahomes too? If they got Stafford when they were supposed to, if they would have pulled the trigger that night and got Matt Stafford, does that work out? Or does Kyle Shanahan, the way it looked to me, Kyle Shanahan wanted Kirk Cousins from years back. He was the reason Washington drafted Kirk Cousins. His dad drafted RG3, or no, actually, it was Dan Quinn drafted RG3. And then they was allowed to get Kirk Cousins. They pulled in 2 quarterbacks that season, and Kyle Shanahan's been in love with Kirk Cousins the whole entire time. Now he's on the Raiders making even more money. I don't get it. But are we ever going to go all in? I remember this time last year, it was before my birthday. My birthday was 2 weeks ago or last week or something. So I remember about this time last year, maybe a few weeks earlier, the Niners, John Lynch on TV saying, oh, we're not going to do everything in 2025 because we're going to go all in 2026, like I said earlier. Where are the all-in moves? What are we doing? Why are we on our hands? Everybody on the Niners is doing this right now and just hoping, just praying something's going to happen, that the whole freaking NFL is going to flop and we're going to be the team that actually makes it to the Super Bowl. That's not how sports work. You build a team, you design good plays, you initiate them on field, and then you make it happen. This isn't what the Niners do anymore. I don't get it. But if we don't make it, if we don't make the Super Bowl, if we don't make the playoffs, if we end up really flopping this year, who is responsible? Who gets the blame this year? I'm going to leave off on this one question. I'm not going to go very long, but where do we fall record-wise? Are we going to be 6-11? Are we going to be 10-7? Are we going to be, what are we going to be? 1-15, 16, whatever the heck it adds up to? Or if we don't make the playoffs, do heads roll? Does anything on our staff change this year? I would love to know your guys' input. I would love to know what you guys think. Does Kyle Shanahan get fired this year if we don't actually make it? Does John Lynch get fired this year if we don't actually make it? Does Brock Purdy get fired this year if we don't actually make it? Who's the scapegoat? Who is going to be the blame when we don't make the playoffs? Or What did we do last year? We beat Philly and then got stomped by Seattle. I don't think anybody even expected to see that, but it happened. So this year, who is going to be fired? Anybody? Or are we going to run it back again? Are we going to keep the Cabo clique? Do we ever rebuild this team? Or are we going to have a bunch of 50-year-olds in 2036 and 2040 playing football for the San Francisco 49ers, and we might as well be the geriatric crew? What do you guys think? I would love to know. I love the 49ers. I am a faithful fan, but sometimes the real questions need to be asked, and I don't know what the hell we're doing. I would love to know what you guys think. Let me know. Put some comments down, and if you have any other topics you'd like to discuss, let me know. I'll do them. But I'd be willing to bet nobody gets fired. Maybe they let John Lynch go this year because he's on the last year of his contract. But Kyle Shanahan keeps the Niners relevant. They keep Jed York relevant. They keep money flowing into his pocket. That's what the Yorks like. That's the only thing that matters to them. So, who gets fired this year if we don't make it? If we do win, who's the cause?